Hey guys! So, as you know, and as I've promised, I have this buddy who's involved in the Bay Area underground hip hop community. So, after a lot of negotiating and arranging, I was able to set things up so that he can come in and do a little performance for us, focusing on physics and forces. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. MC Dub! Woo! All right. Come on, MC. No, you're good. You got this. All right. Hey, yo, MC Dub! What's up, Sam Marin? How y'all doing, STEM Marin? Hey, I'm MC Dub. Your teacher, Mr. Williams, he asked me to come in and put this thing together for you. So I put together this little force rap, Physics Force Club. So I'm gonna lay it down for you, and we'll see what you think. Here we go. Yo, MC Dub, Physics Force Club, Sam Marin, STEM Marin. Let's go. Yo. I love solving physics force problems, and yet I like to solve force problems. I love solving physics force problems, and yet I like to solve force problems. I love solving physics force problems, and yet I like to solve force problems. If you got a lot of physics force problems, bring them to my head. You know that I solve them. Yo, first rule of Physics Force Club, always talk about Physics Force Club. Second rule of Physics Force Club, keep talking about Physics Force Club. I follow Newton's laws, ain't no thug. Focused on physics, staying out of trouble. Got my coffee sitting in my mug, and I represent for MC Dub. When I got a physics force problem to solve, everything I do, I know the steps involved. First I gotta look for what's my need, then what's given. Give the problem a read, plug in an equation, using all my values, finally into numbers. Now is what I do. Don't forget units, they're important too. Finally run the numbers and solve through. Yeah, I love solving physics force problems, and yeah, I like to solve force problems. I love solving physics force problems, and yeah, I like to solve force problems. I love solving physics force problems, and yeah, I like to solve force problems. If you got a lot of physics force problems, bring them to my head. You know that I solve them. Yo. Isaac Newton solved lots of physics of force problems, made up 3 laws, called them Newtons, 3 laws of motion. Now let's get it on. Yo, Newton's first law is inertia, says an object that's moving stays in motion, and an object that's at rest stays at rest. That's unless there is a force acting upon him. Now Newton's second law of motion says force is mass times acceleration. Acceleration's proportional to force, and inverse to mass, of course. Don't let the third law get no traction, because it's about equal and opposite reactions. For every action, the opposite will happen. So if you push open a door, it will push back in. I love solving physics force problems, and yet I like to solve force problems. I love solving physics force problems, and yet I like to solve force problems. I love solving physics force problems, and yet I like to solve force problems. If you got a lot of physics force problems, bring them to my head. You know that I solve them. So you need to find the force on a ball that's sitting on the floor against a wall. Since it's at rest, it remains on the wall, and the force down equals the force on the ball. You find the ball's mass is 100 grams, and there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. So the ball's mass is 0.1 kilogram. Unit conversion, now that is my jam. Yo, I know, F equals ma. A is due to gravity, makes it 10 meters per second squared in the downwards direction impaired. Plug in numbers, solve for force, do the math, be a boss. Force on floor is 1 Newton. Force on ball is 1 Newton. Yeah, I love solving physics force problems. Yeah, I like to solve force problems. I love solving physics force problems. And yeah, I like to solve force problems. I love solving physics force problems. And yeah, I like to solve force problems. If you got a lot of physics force problems, bring them to my head. You know that I solve them. Woo! MC Dub, 2020. We out here, Sam Marin. We out here, STEM Marin. We out. Peace. Peace.